It's the most common fatal childhood genetic disease, the biggest killer of children after cancer. This man could hold the key for a cure. He's Dr. Lap Chi Choi. Early in September, when his team at Toronto's Sick Children's Hospital announced that they'd found the defective gene that causes cystic fibrosis, they were greeted like heroes. The announcement made headlines around the world.
Without going through all the technical details, which would probably take another 7 days and nights, I would just tell you the end result. That is, we think we have isolated a gene responsible for cystic fibrosis.
The discovery of the cystic fibrosis gene will allow major advances to take place in the diagnosis, carrier detection, and treatment of patients.
For parents of children with CF, the discovery means optimism.
It turns the hope into reality. Finally, gives you something to hope for. Better control, better treatment. The cure is a long way off, I think. But the treatment and control, that could be everything.
It was just an ordinary day, driving with my mom, running errands in the car. And some news comes over the radio, and the word cystic fibrosis comes up. So our ears all perk up. And it says there's a breakthrough. The Hospital for Sick Children made a breakthrough in discovering the gene that causes cystic fibrosis. And this is something that we knew that if we could figure out the gene, we could figure out how to actively work towards a cure and work towards miracle medicine that could change everything. And I remember my mom's foot almost coming off the brake, like she wanted to slow down time. I remember the car slowing down and her listening in and turning it up and hearing the words, "The researchers have found the gene." Later that night, I found myself crying. Very mature tears. A 6-year-old should not have to worry about their life expectancy. But as every time the news presents cystic fibrosis, they present the cruel reality of cystic fibrosis because it is a beast of a disease. And I'd hear these things. 6-year-olds hear everything. So I knew very well that I had some pretty scary stuff ahead of me.
This is the lab where the discovery was made. It's here on the 11th floor of the Hospital for Sick Children. It's not the biggest lab, the equipment isn't the best. The people at the hospital say the key to the discovery was how scientists applied new ideas to conventional methods. And they say that if a cure is ever to be found, it's the new ideas that will once again be the key to the formula.
I was there in the laboratory in 1989 when the cystic fibrosis gene was discovered at Sick Kids. It was arguably the biggest discovery ever made in Canada and perhaps in worldwide. And then many scientists, including many at Sick Kids for the next 2 decades, worked on developing a drug that would correct a protein that was missing in people that had cystic fibrosis. So it's a treatment that didn't exist before. It's a new way to move the lives forward of these people that have this really devastating disease.
Breakthrough treatment for patients with cystic fibrosis could be available in the U.S. in less than 2 weeks. And for the 4,300 Canadians living with the fatal genetic disease, the news brings hope to a community where no cure exists.
So at the age of 30, I'm hearing similar news come across. At this time, it's the internet, not the radio, that this massive breakthrough has happened for cystic fibrosis. I was at the point where I was as bad as a person could be. I was getting towards the point of palliative care. I was being evaluated for a double lung transplant. I was working with 28% lung function. I lost the ability to walk on my own. I was on full-time oxygen and full-time IV medication. This medicine came out, and I was lucky enough to be the first person in Canada to be given this breakthrough med. And within 4 hours of taking the medicine, my entire body started to transform and change. The word miracle is an understatement. I know in my heart I would not be here today without that medicine. I never thought I'd be a mom. I never thought I would travel the world. I never thought I'd get married. All of these big milestones I get to reach, I didn't think I was going to be here to see that. Because of these breakthroughs, I've lived, I feel like 100 lives at this point, when I was barely going to live one.